Hello everybody. Very excited for today's live. Going live with Purium CEO and founder Dave Sandoval. There's Dave. Awesome. Yo, Dave. Dave, you can request to join or I can send the invite myself. Whichever you want to do. There should be a camera button on the bottom that looks like a camera with a plus sign in the middle of it. That will be your request to join. There we go. Awesome. I believe I just accepted your request, brother. Okay, accept. There you go. Welcome everybody to the live. Make sure you are sending this live out to all of your followers, to your story. Dave, let me send you an invite myself. Fun. Okay, there we go. Okay, I just now sent the invite myself, Dave. Very excited for today's live. Again, thank you everyone for your time. Gonna have Dave Sandoval on here, Purium CEO and founder. Gonna be answering some questions for him, some questions from him. Unable to join for some reason. I don't know why it's saying unable to join there, Dave. Maybe try your other Instagram account. I know. Oh, okay, there we go.
Oh, looks like I'm sideways.
Can we turn that? Is that possible to turn?
Let me see if we can turn it. Yeah, well, I'm going to be looking at, now I'm upside down. There we go. Hey, look at us. There we go. All right. How are you doing today?
So good. Better now that you're here.
Yeah, I liked it the other way. Let me try that again. So, yeah, really thank you for inviting me. Welcome everybody who's joining us. And I'm just here, to answer any questions you might have, share an insight or two. And yeah, just have a good time.
Dave, thank you so much for your time, brother. You're very humble. But guys, for those of you who don't know, Dave is the CEO, co-founder and product formulator of Purium Superfoods, the transformation company. This company has been in existence now for 20 years. We just now celebrated our 20th anniversary here in Scottsdale, Arizona. Had an incredible time. Had 500 Purium affiliates there, something around that.
A couple hundred more watching live, yeah.
Awesome. And guys, we all had the time of our lives. Obviously, we all just went through the lockdown and all that stuff. So getting people together again and experiencing a convention again, experiencing community with a bunch of health conscious people was absolutely incredible. The recognition, the training, the community was incredible. But guys, none of this would be possible without Dave's vision that he saw not just 20 years ago, but probably 30 years ago. And Dave, really that's what we're here to talk about today is your story, how you saw that Purium was needed. Well, what you saw was needed worldwide, but really how that story started. So Dave, you're this founder of this multi-million-dollar company now, but how did it begin? The very first question that I want to ask you, I got some questions written out here. What's your story? Why do you care about your health? Why do you prefer being healthy over sitting at home and eating chips and eating McDonald's and just watching TV? Why do you prefer having a healthy lifestyle contrary to more of a degeneracy type lifestyle?
Yeah, no, the truth of the matter is that, the Buddha said the problem is we think we have time. Okay. And so I live my life with a sense of calm urgency. Urgency. I know that every minute matters and that the minutes we spend today could add hours later. And so just takes a few minutes of our time to either add 6 hours to our life or to take 2 hours off. And people don't realize that our life is measured in minutes and hours, not in days and years. Because there's almost nothing we could do that could add a year to our life. But there's so many things we could do that could add 3 minutes, 5 minutes, or 2 hours. And you do those things all day. And by the end of the day, you've added another day. You've actually treaded water in your life cycle. If you do other things, you might actually add years. And so I met Jean Coleman when she was 119 years old. My mother is about to turn 89 tomorrow. And yet I have friends, my peers at 62, who I was told died of old age, you know, like that are like at a heart attacks, I mean, and, you know, diseases of aging. And so I think that there's this massive disconnect between what our human potential is. Jean Clement lived to be 123, almost 124. I've met over 100 octogenarians, 100 people who were over 100 years old. And yet I see people in their 60s walking and medicated with walkers and disoriented on multiple medications, already had multiple surgeries, heart attacks, stents, you know, ED, all of these things affecting people that should be in the prime of their life.
Absolutely.
You know, my grandfather fathered my last uncle when he was 73 years old. And I've been in their 50s saying
that's amazing.
I've been in their 50s telling me they can't perform. So there's this big disconnect between human potential and what we're accepting as normal. And we've got to stop accepting this subpar performance as normal. Great
Dave,
creator
I love what you just
promises
said.
much more.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No,
you go.
I love what you just said, though, about the men in their 50s. Dave, there's men in their 40s, 30s, 20s saying that now because of the toxins we're going to talk about.
And I just had a
that's
baby,
a conversation
by the
among much younger men now.
I just had a baby, you know, delivered it at home with my own hands.
Wow.
You know, and no government interference, no hospital interference.
Let's go.
You know, this is the way it's supposed to be. And so I believe we need a return to normalcy. And that normalcy isn't from 50 years ago. It's from 200 years ago. Yes. You know, that normalcy isn't from 50 years ago. That's not where I want to go back to. I want to go back to the Garden of Eden, brother.
Yeah.
So let me tell you a little story.
Please do.
One of my favorite prophets, you know, maybe my all-time favorite prophet was Noah.
Okay.
Noah was a visionary. He saw the future. He saw the trouble. He was told of the trouble to come, and he courageously built an ark as people laughed at him. People laughed at me. All my friends laughed at me. Everybody laughed as they were buying things, and I was buying farms, and they were buying, you know, cars, and I was buying, you know, seeds, and they were wondering what was going on. And so there was a time when Noah knew that the flood would come. Okay. And even when the rain started, no one believed him. You know, even halfway through those 40 days and 40 nights, people were still doubting.
Yeah.
Because that's the way the world is. And so I have dedicated my life to building this safe space, this umbrella, this ark, if you will. And onto that ark, you know, if you come onto the Purium ark, you'll see that there are 62 to 65 of the rarest, most prized superfood concoctions on the planet. And they could be delivered to your doorstep within days. The highest quality food on the planet. And if there's a benefit to modern technology, and there's very few, it is that we're able to dehydrate this food without heat, without preservatives, without additives, so that it'll be shelf-stable for 2+ years and deliver it to you in plant-based packaging that will decompose and return to the earth that it came from. So this is our mission. This is what we do. And I might have got off base just a little bit. There's some background noise. I'm not sure what it is.
Oh, sorry. It's probably this. It's probably my blinds. I have the blinds behind my camera. I'll make sure the fan is blowing elsewhere. Sorry.
Is
Is that a little better?
That's so much better.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So, sorry for the distraction, if that was a distraction. But love the story about the Ark. Brilliant. So, you know, did you want to build this Ark, though, brother? Like, what did you see out there that was taking place that you knew you had to build an Ark?
So I was listening to Neil Young's song After the Gold Rush. It was written probably, when I was 5 years old. And one of the lines says, "We've got Mother Nature on the run," in the 1970s. So that means in the 1970s, Neil Young was singing about the fact that Mother Nature was on the run. And so I wanted to know what that was all about when I was 16 years old. So I read a book called Silent Spring by Rachel Carson. And it talked about the chemicals that were in our food, how they were killing our babies and birds and destroying genetic material for generations to come. And
Wow.
and so just to back up a little bit, my auntie took me in because my parents had challenges, and my auntie agreed to, be my mom. And just a few months later, she died of multiple sclerosis. And the doctor said that multiple sclerosis was exacerbated by food. Now, you're going to have to allow me to explain that at the time I didn't understand, because I was taught that genes were genes. They were a story that was written, and your life just played that story out like a movie.
Yeah.
Right? But now we know that genes have multiple potential expressions. This is called epigenetics.
Okay.
And the same gene that could lead to you having cancer could also lead to you living to be 120. It's just how that gene expresses itself. And the way that we eat, the way that we live, the water we drink, the air we breathe, the thoughts we think, all of these actually help direct the ultimate outcome of our genes. And so we can actually practice gene expression lifestyle, a maximum gene expression lifestyle. And that's what we now call the Purium lifestyle. But I realized that my auntie was doing the opposite. She was an amazing woman. She wanted to spend all of her time teaching her boys how to do things like ride bikes and water ski and snow ski and hike and all these things, help them with their homework and play basketball. And what she didn't want to do was go to the grocery store and wait in line and select a bunch of food and then cook that food and do dishes. And she didn't want to do those things that I love to do, but she didn't want to do those. And so she chose McDonald's, and she chose Jack in the Box, and she had TV dinners, and she had a microwave. And this was the revolution 50 years ago. You got to remember, this was a revolution 50 years ago. This new food,
New tech,
fast food, instant food. We ate. I'm not joking. Mashed potatoes out of a box that you just added water to. Okay, I'm not joking. So like all these conveniences that my aunt embraced so she could spend time with her family. She wasn't a bad person. She certainly had no ill intent. She didn't mean to kill herself, but she did. She killed herself, and the doctor said it was the preservatives, the artificial colorings, the MSG, the high fructose corn syrup. All these things conspired to destroy her genetic material. Okay, her nerve bundles in her body were destroyed, and so here I am at 17, and I finally had a goddess. I finally had a mother. I finally had someone that I could look up to. And then she dies right in front of my eyes. And I was one very angry young man, a very furious, angry young man. And you know who I was furious at? The silence. The silence of all the people that know that the food is killing us, yet they keep making their money, selling it to us, feeding it to us, giving it to us, making their money on our suffering. And I'm still furious to this day, 50 years later.
Appreciate you sharing your heart, brother. Thank you so much for sharing your heart and opening up. Appreciate the transparency, and I can guarantee that you're probably resonating with many of us who are watching and listening right now. We all have many people who have had health challenges that we're close to and loved ones, and clearly you wear your heart on your sleeve, and we could talk about this another time, but I see it in your chart, brother, and I see you living it every single day. And when the heavens align, man, and you chose to come down here, you were here on a mission, and you are living it out every single day.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead. Yeah,
sure.
sure.
Questions. Let me ask you
Sure,
one.
sure.
If you lived in Flint, Michigan, would you let your kids drink the water?
No.
If you
No.
fished in Santa Monica Bay, would you let your wife eat the fish?
Definitely not.
Okay. If you knew that there was fluoride in your toothpaste, and chlorine in the pool, would you just maybe at least know that there's a problem there? Like when you smell that chlorine in the pool, when you go in the jacuzzi you got to know something's not right there. That isn't the smell of water, right?
Correct.
See, the problem is that we become so numb to it that when I tell people that 75% of the food on store shelves has measurable amounts of a toxic chemical, of a poison, when I tell people that 95% of the beverages that they consume, and maybe even a higher percentage of beer, because a lot of people drink beer, okay, have residues and measurable amounts of a toxic chemical, a poison in them. Nobody seems to be listening, bro.
Well, I mean, we're listening, Dave. We're listening, and we're telling people now, so it's just a matter of us obviously getting that word out. And you have created this solution within Purium that is allowing people to get rid of this toxin that we didn't invite to dinner. And this solution that you created, I'm going to get into Biomedic, but first of all, what I wanted to ask you actually, the entire transformation, Purium is known as the transformation company. The entire transformation comes with, Biomedic. We got the Power Shake. We got the
We have fruits. Keep it simple. We have
the
most potent fruit, the most potent protein, an incredibly potent vegetable blend, super slow burning carbohydrates, and on top of that, we have gut repair. Okay? And if you think about it, what do humans need? Protein, carbohydrates, and the micronutrients from fruits and vegetables. That's exactly what we offer from the highest potency foods.
Yeah.
The problem is that even if you're eating those foods and your gut is permeable, your gut is compromised, you have been poisoned by this, by this agricultural, input called glyphosate, then those nutrients will actually leave your body and toxins will enter. And so this revolving door typically allows nutrients in and hold toxins out. But now the revolving door lets toxins in and doesn't let nutrients in. And so this gut permeability has turned nutrition upside down. So it's not enough for me to provide you simply with the nutrients. I must repair your gut so that the nutrients will be received by your body as well.
Absolutely. So with that transformation, with the entire package, what are we leading with? What are we getting rid of so that we can then nourish first, brother?
Well, the truth of the matter is that our bodies were not meant to process things that do not come from nature. And so 100 years ago, 100% of food was 100% chemical free.
Yes.
Okay.
What a time.
Now, in the past 100 years, which is about 3 or 4 generations, I don't know how they measure generations, to be honest with you, but in the last 100 years, we now have come to the point where 99% of food has a binder, a filler, a preservative, an artificial color, an artificial sweetener, a stabilizer, a hydrogenated oil, monosodium glutamate, or has been processed and restructured like a what they used to call I forget the name of it. It was when they took protein from plants and they tried to make it, look like protein from an animal, like the Impossible Burger, like extruded, extracted, concocted, so that's not what your body is meant to digest.
Correct.
And when we give our body the simplest foods that will be digested in the simplest way, we actually accomplish the most complicated thing. But when we give really complicated, complex food, we actually only accomplish one thing, and that's to deteriorate our life potential, our longevity, and our health, and our expression of joy. Because serotonin is produced in your gut. Your immune system is produced in your gut. Neurotransmissions start in your gut because your gut is your second brain.
Now, why would you say, Dave, that Purium's greens or Purium Superfoods and our meal replacements are any different than any greens or superfoods that you could get on Sprouts shelves or Whole Foods shelves, even if they have an organic label on them or something of that nature? What makes us different?
Well, let's go backwards. First of all, what are they packaged in?
Okay.
We were shipping 30,000 packages a month with an average of 4 plastic containers in every one. That means I personally was responsible for 144,000 plastic containers a year going into landfills. My company, so I could make people healthy. Okay? That didn't seem congruent. So years ago, over 5 years ago, almost 7 years ago now, we transformed into plant-based biodegradable packaging so that the promise of being healthy wasn't just to the consumer of my product, but to the planet that their children would grow up on. Okay, that's working backwards. Now work backwards again. Our products, even though they're organic and others might be, have no binders, fillers, excipients. That means there's not other things in there to make them flow, silica dioxide, magnesium stearate, microcrystalline cellulose. We find these in a lot of products, even if they have high-level labels of purity, because they found ways to get around the laws. And so the main thing is, though, I would say that primarily, if you are eating a green food, you're doing good. I don't care if it's Sprouts. I don't care if it's Joe's Greens or that lame ass one, Sport Greens. At least you're getting some greens. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So I'm never going to put another green food down because I want you eating greens. I don't like to put exercise down, but when I would go by a CrossFit and see that their trainers weren't teaching the proper technique, then I'm like, all exercise isn't good. And now I have to say all food isn't good. And I'm sorry, CrossFit people, I am. But if you really know the physiology of training, it isn't how fast you could do something or how heavy a weight you could lift. It's the quality, okay, not the quantity. And so I say don't measure calories to see whether you're going to gain weight. Look at the calorie to nutrient ratio, okay? If you have a food that has high calories, but it has massive amounts of nutrients, maybe it's because there's a healthy fat in that food, like a flaxseed, right? And you're like, oh, that has so many nutrients. Or the tart cherry, oh, that has so much sugar. Yeah, but look what you're getting in exchange. You know what I mean? So we don't measure calories or fat. We measure quantity and quality, and we measure nutrients. And so at Purium, I promise you, the most nutrient dense foods on the planet without any additives, binders, fillers, excipients, preservatives, coloring agents, flowing agents, stabilizers, anything like that. And so when you get, and I'm just going to go on for one more
Go
second.
ahead. Please do.
Of all the food on the planet, only about 1% is considered a superfood. There's about 10,000 edible species of plants,
Okay.
and iceberg lettuce is not the same as kale or broccoli.
No,
You know
it's
what
not.
I mean?
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and while I like corn, it's not the same as blueberries. There's a difference between, and so that top 1% of food, things like wheatgrass and spirulina and chlorella, things like blueberries and tart cherries, that's very rare. It's 1%. But guess what percent of that 1% is organic? About 1%.
Ooh.
So now you've got 1% of the 1%. That's 1 in 1,000. So we're giving you the top 1,000th percentile of quality of food. Now, when you get something that rare, what do you usually pay?
Top
Ridiculous.
dollar.
Yeah, that's why they create medicine, because they go, we're the only place you could get it. It's really rare. So we can charge anything we want. So we strive to bring you the highest quality food at the most affordable prices in the most convenient way. Okay, directly to your doorstep. And then we do something really crazy. We guarantee you that after 4, 5, 6, 7, even 8 weeks of using our product, if you cannot document and feel that it's made a significant difference in the improvement of your life, then we want to give you your money back. We want to give you your money back if our promise to you was not fulfilled. And this is how we do it,
Dave, I love that you're willing to literally put your money where your mouth is. That's so selfless of you. Many people think that network marketing or affiliate marketing companies or even CEOs in this space are just, they're all at the top of the pyramid and they're collecting all the money. But here you are talking about the ability to put your money where your mouth is, number one. Number two, Dave, are you comfortable with sharing some of the stories of, how you've, just kind of what you said to me earlier in text about how you've put money into other people contrary to yourself? Are you comfortable with sharing some of those stories?
Well, no, really it is that I think I said that, if you want to look tall, stand on the shoulders of giants. And so what I try to do is I try to, create success stories. I want people to be able to come back and say, when I joined Dave's company, now I'll just give you one, but it's a financial success story.
Sure.
I don't know if you met Willow at the convention from Hawaii. So
No.
when Willow joined the company, she was living in her car with her 2 kids on food stamps. And 2 years later, she was making $30,000 a month. Yeah. Okay. Now, do I pay myself $30,000 a month? Oh, I wish. Life would be so good if I could. Now I've got dozens and dozens and dozens of people in this company earning more money than I pay myself for the privilege of running this company 24/7. Now, do they work 24/7 in order to earn that 10, 20, 30, or $40,000 a month? Not a year, a month? No, they don't.
No, they don't.
And I'm going to explain to you why, because I learned how to teach people the power of leveraging their time. And I'm going to explain it to you, and you're going to love this.
Please do.
Okay.
Right.
So I have managed to train on some level to inspire about 30,000 people to put in about 10 to 20 hours a week. Okay. But I'm just one person. But yet there are almost 3 million hours worth of work being done each week that I inspired. And does the benefit of that work come to me? No. It stays mostly with the people doing it. Okay. So the thing about this business model that we embrace is that if I taught one person to eat right, I'm going to change one life. But if I teach one person to go out and to share this knowledge, they might change 1,000 lives. Yeah. And then that way, if I could get 1,000 people to change 1,000 lives, have I changed 1,000,000 lives?
Yes.
And so imagine if you could get 1,000,000 people earning $1 for you a year. Well, it doesn't quite work that way, but imagine if you could get 1,000 people earning $1,000 for you a year. Now that's very realistic. Okay, yes. That's very realistic. That means that they're only earning $90 a month for you as a percentage of what they're making for themselves. That's very realistic, and many people are making that happen on some level. And so this is the power of leveraging your time, of becoming part of a team. And in my business model, you know, we've set it up simply because we need people to help us spread the word. You know, 30 years ago, they said I was Chicken Little. You know who Chicken Little was? The sky is falling. The sky is falling.
Yeah.
Well, now,
okay. Yeah.
now they say I was Paul Revere. Okay. Because when I was on my horse riding around warning people, they laughed at me. But then we started burying them, you know, because they didn't listen. And the ones who were left started to listen. And that's why I'm invited into royal castles. That's why I'm invited onto the sets of the A-list celebrities in Hollywood. That's why I am speaking to the top people in the NFL and the NBA and other and UFC fighters and MMA fighters, because the difference that I give them, they can't buy on a store shelf. I don't care if you're a billionaire, and I've worked with over a dozen. If you're a billionaire, all the money in the world doesn't make you live more than 70 or 80 years old. I'm sorry.
Correct.
Okay. There's a country song that said, happiness doesn't grow in bigger houses. You know that one?
Yeah.
It's a cool song because, you know, it's not about the wealth you accumulate. It's the love that you've managed to share. And so I want to share love energy, but that sometimes means money. Because if I want you to go out and work hard doing what I'm passionate about, I'd better be able to reward you.
Absolutely.
And so we figured out a system of rewards. Now, let me tell you who gets rewarded when you go to Whole Foods. You ready? Whole Foods makes 40% when you're not giving them a discount, and they're always asking for one. And then the distributor who puts it on a truck and takes it to Whole Foods, they make 25%. I'm not joking. And then the guy like Ian, who used to go around and make sure my product was on the shelf at the right place, he gets 10%.
Yep.
And then the broker who got the store to start selling it, they're making 5 to 10% perpetually for something they did one time. They know none of them know about your product. They don't care about your product, and they don't care if the people consuming it are healthy. They're in the business for the money, and they never take a discount. They always ask you for a discount. So if I'm making a product and that product costs $100 and Whole Foods is getting 40, right? And the distributor's getting 25, and the broker's getting 10, and the other broker's getting 5, right? That means there's only about 15% left for shipping, administration. Oh, we have to make the product. Oh, we need some money to actually make the product. Well, that's the last consideration for most companies. Think about that. The last thing they think about, how can we make the ingredients cheaper? How can we make the packaging cheaper? How can we make everything cheaper? Because none of these people are taking a discount. Not the distributor, not Whole Foods, not the broker, and not the jobber. They don't take a discount. You know who needs to be discounted? Mr. Quality gets discounted. And the consumer suffers because quality gets lowered, so profits get higher. I love free enterprise, but it isn't free. You have to pay. And I'm going to say it again. I want expensive food. Okay. Excuse me. I don't want cheap food and expensive medicine.
Yeah.
I want quality food and no medicine.
Yes. I'm going to ask you to repeat that, Dave, for some of those who missed it. You said that there was a lady who was living in her car, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
then
So
within a
Willow was
couple of
living in her
months, you
car,
said that she's making how much?
2 kids,
Okay.
food stamps.
Okay.
Okay. Living in her car. And all she had was her phone.
Wow.
And 2 years later, she was making multiple 6 figures.
And you said that she was making more than you pay yourself from the company?
Absolutely. Absolutely. More than twice as much.
And you said there's dozens of people doing that?
Dozens and dozens of people doing that.
For
And
anyone who may think that you're a selfish CEO, clearly...
no, I'm a coach. I create a playing field. I throw the ball out on the field. That's what I do. Because remember, I win. You guys got to understand how I keep score. I keep score in lives saved. Okay. I keep score in families kept together. I keep score in funerals never attended. I keep score in doctors never visited. I keep score in prescriptions never filled. I keep score in years that are earned and not burned.
Ooh.
That's what I win. Because I learned a long time ago, my happiness doesn't come from where I am or what I have. My happiness comes from who I am. And I freaking love who I am, you know?
So, man, I just got chills listening to you say that, Dave. Love it, brother. Yo, so clearly you're not cutting any corners when it comes to product. If you could just tell us really quick, Dave, about some of these amazing products. Kamu, what is Kamu? Why is this ancient Egyptian wheatgrass different than other wheatgrass? If you could, please tell us about Kamu, and how did you get a hold of this seed?
So check this out. I'm going to tell this 2-hour story in 5 minutes. I was working.
Please.
I was a stockbroker, made a bunch of money when I predicted the stock market would crash in 85, and I was one sick, fat, not happy person. And then I remembered what Ann Wigmore had taught me about wheatgrass and green food. So I got back on the green food wagon, and I looked for a job, and the first job I see, the very first one says, the Green Food Corporation needs a manager. So I call up, it's a Japanese pharmaceutical company. They're drying barley greens into powder and selling it like instant wheatgrass juice. I'm like, oh my God. I take their sales from 700,000 to over 30 million in a few short years. And one of the ways I used was a company called AIM, American Image Marketing, who sold it under the barley green label. Okay. And I saw that this barley green label was going crazy. Well, I kept asking the Japanese pharmacologist for the nutritional analysis, and they wouldn't send it to me.
Okay.
Since I had made all my money in the stock market already, I used my own money, sent their product out to multiple labs, and guess what? It was not live. There were no enzymes. It was not organic. There were traces of chemicals. It was not pure. It was 40% maltodextrin. Okay? So I asked the Japanese pharmaceutical company, they go, that's the best we could do. Well, I prayed about it. I literally went to the South Point of Hawaii for a 3-day vision quest and asked Great Creator to give me the answers, and he did. And I don't mean I don't know if God has DNA. I mean, but Great Creator did. Another topic.
Yeah.
And again, I just don't think God has testicles. That's just my opinion. And but we'll get into that later. The bottom line is that we all pray to the same God, and that's my belief.
Correct.
So I'm praying to God, and all of a sudden, miracles start happening. I meet a man who has a drying method that has no heat necessary. Okay? He was trying to create food that could be stored for the Mormon church that had no preservatives and no additives, because he thought all the food they were storing for their 2-year food storage would ultimately kill them by cancer anyway. because of all the artificial stuff in it, right? So he
Of
created this
course.
food drying method for his religious beliefs, right?
Okay.
And then I met another man who was a food archaeologist who had discovered this ancient grain called kamu that was the purest DNA, only 14 chromosome pairs versus 30 that modern grains have, which means people weren't allergic to it. It digested easily, all these things, right? And so, and then I find this magical piece of farmland, 7,000 acre ancient lake bed with 99 feet deep, rich of topsoil. And so I gather, because remember, I had my own money. I just was working humbly for this pharmaceutical company
Yeah,
because
yeah,
they
yeah.
said they wanted to do this natural green food thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Then I find out that they've been lying because they're a pharmaceutical company, you know? And so I go, wait, I could bring them home, right? I'm going to bring them home. So I come to a meeting with this billionaire, right? And a 6'4" Japanese guy. Imagine that. So I go into this meeting with this like giant Japanese dude, and I tell him, I've got all the answers. You're about to be humiliated because the world's about to find out that your product is 40% sugar. I have a drying method that will dry it 100% pure. I said, everybody in the world has access to barley. So even if you have barley greens, other people could too. I have kamut, exclusive rights to it, better than barley, and no one else could ever have it. I said, and even better, I've got the perfect organic land for you to grow it in, and I've already secured it. So all you have to do is take all these pieces that I lined up so I can be in integrity as your salesman. All I want to do is be in integrity as your salesman. And I did all this work for you so we could get this company back where it's supposed to be. And you know what he had? You know what he did? He did the Donald Trump. You're fired. He said, you're a used car salesman. There's 100 of you on every street corner. And you know what I told him? I said, guess what? I'm about to rock your world, baby. Because everywhere you turn, people are going to be saying, why don't you have the pure, organic, raw, ancient wheatgrass instead of this, you know what, that you're selling? And sure enough, I got all of his clients from Australia, all of his clients from Europe. I got them all to switch to my brand.
Wow. He
Because
didn't know who he
the
was messing
truth
with.
is
He didn't know you were
self-evident.
dealing with money either, too.
Oh, you know, he didn't realize I wasn't chasing money.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
chasing integrity.
Yeah.
Integrity is way more important than money. So one thing the great creator has told us is that in the end, all things will be revealed.
Mm.
And until then, all things are an illusion. Never forget that.
Mm. Yes. Love it, brother. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you
So
so much.
that's where it came from. So I just manifested all of the proper parts, but not for myself. I was willing to hand them to Dr. Hagiwara and say, you know, you're already in this business. You got the money. Here's the seed. Here's the technology. Here's the land. I'll just keep selling.
Right.
And he fired me. So you know what I did? I liquidated my bank account, all that money I had made for myself in the stock market. And I lived in my warehouse for 4 years without a car, without a window, without a stove. Okay. Without anything except for a little refrigerator. And you have to remember, I went 16 months without food as a breatharian. As Amy could tell you, my business partner, she got so scared because she was watching this, you know,
Yeah.
why aren't you eating? Would you please eat? Eat something today, you know, but I went, just got my sunlight, you know, and so people, I've done things that most people don't think are possible, and I'm going to continue to do things that most people don't think are possible so that you'll believe that you could do the impossible as well.
Love it, brother. Thank you so much, and thank you for sharing that story about, how really Purium came to be and how you got this seed, ancient Kamut. What did you say was the differences in the chromosomes, the trichromosomes, or something like that?
14 chromosome pairs. That's primordial. That
Okay.
is the Jurassic, you know, genetic type of material.
And how does that
All of
compare
our
to modern greens today?
28 to 32.
Oh, wow. And so 14 is better. Why?
Think how simple that is genetically for your body to digest.
Okay, I understand now. Yes.
How fewer chances there are to have an allergic reaction.
Less is more, of course.
Think about the quality of the protein and how much more digestible it is. So we are making our food way more complex than it needs to be, that our body can recognize due to massive hybridization and chemicalization. And so, yeah, it's a different ballgame. So, but you know, just to let you know, we can't talk about every product I have, but here's what I can share with you.
Sure.
I was on the radio in New York City. Okay. Now, the person with the highest rated show in New York City for 20 years had me as a guest on his show. And then he invited me back again. When he invited me back the third time, I missed his show and he called me and he cussed me out like a pirate. And I felt really bad because I didn't know. I must have done something wrong. I grew up in an abusive household. So when people yelled at you like that, you know, you feel bad instead of wondering what's wrong with them, you know? So I called the radio station to apologize and they started laughing. And they're like, do you know why Gary's so upset? I said, why? He goes, because when you're on his show, his ratings double. I said, you're kidding me. They go, would you like your own show? And I'm like, you want me to have a radio show? Like with just me? And they're like, yes. You don't know who you are. You don't know what you got to offer. They go, would you like to be immediately before or after Gary? And I'm like, oh my God, this is really going to upset him, right? So at the time, I was, so I go on the radio show, and for years I'm just question and answer. So I write down every question every day. I write down every question I was asked, and I save these sheets of paper for years. And then I hire somebody to go through and to make a spreadsheet of all the questions I've ever been answered. You know how many questions I was asked?
No idea.
Fewer than 50, asked in 10,000 different ways. Wow. And so I realized that people were actually suffering from the same things for different reasons, and it was expressing. And so I designed Purium to answer every single problem that was described to me on that radio. And we have this chart that we created that literally you could look at, and I have 45 different ways that you might feel, like the questions that came to me on the radio. And I then recommend 1 to 3 to 5 products that will absolutely guarantee change your life and change that. Because here's the truth. We're not doctors. I want you to repeat that. We're not doctors. We don't cure. But 95% of your symptoms are not from a disease, are not from a condition, are not because you're sick. They're because of your food. They're because of your gut. They're because of your lack of sleep. They're because of the quality of your nourishment. And if I could change that and get rid of 95% of the suffering without ever needing a doctor, without ever needing a hospital, without ever needing a medication, because we're not doctors, we're foodologists, okay? And we don't need an oncologist if we have a foodologist.
Dave, a couple more questions here before we invite a couple people on. They just want to share, thank you and what their favorite products are. Let's talk about the transformation really quick. Within the transformation, we have a Parasite cleanse. We have the Pesticide cleanse, Biomedic, and these greens.
Again, keep it simple.
Right.
We have the most potent fruit, the most potent green vegetable mix. We have the single most potent protein. We have the very best gut repair, and that's what we call our core 4. But when you sign up for an ultimate lifestyle transformation, we know that 99% of Americans are carrying between 1 and 3 different types of parasites. Whether it's because they go swimming in lakes whether it's because they kiss somebody who eats pork, who knows what the reasons are, but there are parasites that are living in each one of us, and they steal our nutrients and they tap into our genetic delivery systems for energy. And so we have a powerful parasite cleanse. You take it for 10 days, then you take 20 days off. During those 20 days, if there were any parasite eggs that hatched, the second 10 days gets rid of them. If you wonder why the second 10 days, don't forget to do the second 10 days. You will feel so much more energy. The bloating in your gut will be gone. The brain fog will be gone. You're going to not have that weakness in your muscles when you go, you know what I'm talking about, when you come near certain electronics and stuff and you just feel weaker. These are parasitic connections. The parasites love the warmth of these electronic devices, and they try to get you to come closer to them because they have a vibration. And so parasites love 5G, you know? So
Dave, you are hitting points right now, brother. Wow.
So I'm just saying that there's a reason we throw in the free parasite cleanse. It's not because we just want you to do 6 products. I mean,
Right.
it's asking a lot, I know. But here's what I'll tell you that we know for sure. It has been scientifically proven that if you do anything consistently for 90 days, you might do it the rest of your life. I don't care if it's a cigarette, a beer. I don't care if it's watching a certain TV program. You know what I mean?
Yep.
If you do it for 90 days, you might do that the rest of your life. But the same thing is true with a good habit. And so we have something we call the 90-day way. And it's an invitation for you to be very serious about adding years and years and years to your life by adding minutes and hours at a time. And the way that you do that is you're taking away something that would have hurt you and putting in something that will help you. Addition by subtraction and subtraction by addition. You're going to be subtracting a lot of potential diseases because of what you're doing. You're going to be adding a lot of nutrients because of what you're not doing. It's a simple philosophy, but if you do this for 90 days, and that includes the parasite cleanse,
Yeah.
remember 60 days into that, you can return it for a full money back guarantee. That's how confident we are. And so the ultimate lifestyle transformation is getting the perfect protein, the perfect fruit, the perfect vegetable, gut repair, super slow burning carbohydrates, massive amount of micronutrients. And then we add to that, okay? Again, I don't know if you're familiar with the tart cherry, the people listening, but Dr. Oz came on and said it was the single most important food that you could add to your diet that he's ever discovered. And that was 10 years after we started selling it, by the way. So welcome
Why
to the
say
family.
that?
Why did he say it?
Yeah.
Because it has the antioxidants of 10 servings of blueberries, which nobody does a day, right? It has natural melatonin, which helps you get into deep sleep, which repairs you physically and mentally and emotionally because you process things that you can't process while you're awake. And it has the anti-inflammatory effect. Okay, so it reduces inflammation, scavenges for free radicals, and puts you into deep sleep. So it basically is like an amazing superfood. And
Brilliant. And that's part of the transformation, of
it comes
course.
with the transformation. And so
Dave, really
to get
quick,
all of it.
if you don't mind, how many foodborne illnesses within the food sector that you were talking about earlier would be from parasite and pesticide toxicity? How much of the percentage of foodborne illnesses or illnesses within the Western world would you say come from that?
So parasites shorten your life, they don't kill you. That's the funny
Okay.
thing. It's like if you have a battery, and there's this slow drain, like you left a light on somewhere in your car, a dome light, and you don't realize it. And you keep driving your car, so it keeps sort of recharging the battery, but the battery's getting weaker all the time and you don't even realize it. So this is what a parasite is. Now imagine you had 3 lights on in your car, right? Now, you may go in one day and run. You know, so that's the thing about parasites is you don't go, oh my God, I have a parasite. Today I feel I have a fever. No, you don't even notice. They come in, they make themselves at home, they get real comfortable. In fact, now I'm going to blow your mind here. One of the most potent cancer medicines ever discovered but never produced came from a parasite. It was living inside of a man that was ravaged with cancer because he was exposed to radiation. And the parasite in his body didn't want to die and started creating a powerful anti-cancer drug, the parasite. And so everything we think is bad actually could also be good, but that doesn't mean a parasite will save you. The parasite is
Correct.
trying to save itself.
Save itself, of course.
Yes. But that's how in tuned parasites are to everything happening in your body. So I'm leaving you with one more thing. Imagine if you had a plane and it was supposed to fly to Canada, but it got hijacked and instead flew to Mexico, right?
Okay.
Well, that's what the problem is with these parasites, is they actually could go in and reprogram your cells to deliver nutrients not to your cells, but to redirect the nutrients to the parasite. And this is what people don't understand. Parasites, they literally tap into your supply line and they suck away from it. And it doesn't get better over time, it gets worse. And so an annual parasite cleanse, a super cleansar, could add years to your life.
Brilliant. Brilliant. So that's just parasites. How about the pesticide side?
So pesticides are more immediate.
Okay.
A pesticide could immediately go in and damage your DNA in a way that could last 7 generations, even 10 generations. Your great grandchild could get autism because of the pesticides that you ate prior to conception.
Wow.
But more importantly, we know that it can kill you immediately if you're exposed to too much. And so I just want to address 3 major things happening in America today. And the first is depression. Okay, depression is caused because there are 2 happy hormones. One is testosterone, right? And one is serotonin. Now, Purium products naturally increase both of these. And they're a natural reverse for depression, which is sweeping the nation. Another thing is obviously obesity. And all these Ozempics and all of these drugs coming out are now being shown to have horrible side effects. And you have to continue to take them for your entire life or they stop working. Well, if you're going to do something for the rest of your life, shouldn't it be something nutritious? So if you're going to be paying for money for the rest of your life, shouldn't it be something that makes you healthier? And so we have depression, we have obesity. But the third is unavoidable. That's called aging. Aging is a disease because it's chronic, it's degenerative, and it leads to death. How could aging not be a disease? If it's chronic, it's degenerative, and it leads to death. That's the very description of disease. And so if we think of aging as disease and we treat it as such, we've got to find the medicine for it. Okay? And that's what Purium is. Purium is the antidote to aging. Okay? Because your cells rejuvenate and regenerate. 70% of them replace themselves every 7 years. That means that every 7 years you have a chance to replace 70% of the cells in your body with healthier cells. What if you're replacing them with less healthy cells? Chronic, degenerative, and leads to death. But what if you turn it around and you're chronically regenerative?
Yes.
So this is what Purium is. We're chronically regenerating versus chronically degenerating.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, brother. If you could, final two things. What is the Power Shake? How did it get its name, number one? And then why does Super Amino 23, why is that superior to any other dietary protein or amino acids that could be on shelves elsewhere?
Well, the first question, you have to be a little bit older to remember, but there was a celebrity named Eric Nies. He was on MTV. He had Dance Fever, was the best workout video. I think The Grind was his workout video. He was partners with Mariana Nava, who went on to create Dance Fever. I'm sorry, Dancing with the Stars, which I think is still on TV now.
Yep.
And he was really into this. I was into fasting, and I was doing the breatharian thing, and he wanted to imitate me. And so he tried to do a fast, but because he's 3% body fat and the rest is muscle, there was no energy in his body to feed his muscle. Yeah, so he got out of bed on day 3 and fell flat on his face and almost broke his nose. So his girlfriend, Penny, he was staying right here where I am now at the Oasis. So his girlfriend, Penny, called me and she said, Dave, Eric wants to do this, but I think he's going to die. So I called my warehouse. I said, get me some of our carrot juice, some of our spirulina, get me our green juice blend, get me our fiber blend. I said, and then get me the tart cherry. I said, get me some super aminos. I said, and put it all in a box and send it overnight to the Oasis, right? And so I was in Arizona. I drove here. The box came here, and I put Eric on this program. And I told him, okay, you're going to take 1 scoop of the carrot, a half a scoop of spirulina. You're going to take a 1/4 scoop of chlorella. You're going to take 1 scoop of the mixed grasses. You're going to take, and he goes, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah. And you're going to take, right, the rice bran solubles, right? And you have to mix this all together 3 times a day. Yeah. And you have to take these aminos twice a day and the cherry before bed. And he looked at Penny, and Penny says, you're doing it. Well, 10 days later, he calls me and says, you won't believe this, Dave. I put on 3 pounds of muscle in 10 days on these weirdo foods you brought me, right? Yeah. He goes, so I just have a power shake in the morning. I go, wait, you ordered somebody else's product? And he goes, no, that's what I call it. When I put everything that you told me into 1 glass, the carrot, the rice bran solubles, the green mix, the chlorella, the spirulina, so he goes, I mix it all together. He goes, I might put an extra scoop of carrot. He goes, but I call that the power shake. He goes, and it's delicious, man. It's amazing. And so for years, we called it the power shake. And then recently we added some flavor to it to make it the appleberry. Love it. So that's how it got its name. Now, the Super Amino 23 is actually the invention of a brilliant scientist who has multiple patents. And over the years, this has been recommended in the physician desk reference for over 17 different conditions and diseases. But we're not doctors, so we just use it as dietary protein. Here's what makes it different. Number 1, there is a knockoff being sold that's made in China. Don't fall for it. It's not okay? Because they'll say, oh, it has the same profile as Dave's Super Aminos. But the aminos are sourced from China and just thrown together. It's not the same. Okay, ours are structured. Ours are made in the United States or Italy. And more importantly, ours are clinically proven to be 99.5% digestible and convertible to tissue. That means that almost 100% of what you eat benefits the body in a tremendous way. Clinically proven to increase elasticity, so your skin has more flexibility and tightness as well. So basically, it builds muscle, enhances, collagen, and tightens your matrix of your skin, your elasticity. And nothing else on the planet is proven to do that. Nothing else is like this. Now, the closest thing to digestibility you're going to get is an isolated soy protein that's terrible for your body. And that's going to give you about a 60% digestibility, not 99.9.
Okay.
The second is going to be like a whey, a grass-fed whey might give you 50 to 52% digestibility, which means 48% of it becomes a toxic waste in your body. Now, let me explain that that's not good. If you're consuming
Yeah.
massive amount of protein, that half of it becomes, metabolic waste in your body, that's not good.
Not good. So I had no idea though that you would even say the 60% soy isolate would be higher than a grass-fed whey.
They're about the same,
Okay.
but because one's an isolate is the only
Isolate.
reason.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Okay, okay. Wow though. Wow. And so still so much more digestible than any other so-called protein on shelves, and we don't even know if these are alive proteins, how they were,
Oh yeah.
you know, all the things that
Yeah.
you just
So
listed.
again, protein's a very funny thing because every single organism requires protein. And so when they process a protein to sell it to you, it has to be highly processed to make sure that there's zero bacteria and all these other things. And so most people don't give you the highest quality protein. They just they can't go through all the quality things it would take. So 90% of the protein out there, it's protein in name only, you know?
Mm, only the name protein.
I mean, yeah,
Okay, Dave.
protein, but it's not what you're expecting from the guy on the bottle, you know? Um,
Right. Looking all jacked and all that. Now, you mentioned, though, final thing before I ask you this last question, you mentioned something about it being in the medical community. How is this amino acid administered in the medical community?
so typically in hospitals, when someone has in a coma and they
Okay.
can't move or they're paralyzed and they can't move, then they're going to die. And the reason they're going to die is because our capillaries, okay, are actually blood moves through our capillaries because our muscles contract and expand.
Okay.
And if you don't have muscles to contract and expand, then your blood will stop flowing to the extremities of your body and you'll die. And so, in order to keep people alive who are in comas and paralyzed, they had to put muscle on them. But how do you put muscle on
Mm.
them if they can't move? Well, the super aminos was created and it literally could put a six pack on somebody who's in a coma.
Wow. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Okay, Dave, I have one final question for you, brother. Thank you so much for sharing your story, the story of the products, where they all come from. Final question is this right now, and we're not going to talk politics at all, but really, should everyone be focusing on this upcoming election right now, or should they just be taking their health and their finances into their own hands, you know, and partner up with Purium? What do you think about that, Dave?
So I'm going to tell you something really important, okay? And I never want you to forget this.
I won't.
You do not just have a single vote. You do
Mm.
not just vote every 4 years. And I want to ask you a question. Has anybody ever really fought hard for a candidate to win and they didn't win and you were disappointed? Has
Yeah.
anybody really fought hard for a candidate to win and they did win and you were disappointed?
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
here's the thing. We don't want to vote every 4 years because we don't know whether or not the person who made a promise to us will keep it or whether they're capable. I vote about 20 times a day. Every time I
Mm.
spend my money, I make sure I do not let my money flow to a company that does not support the things that I support.
Mm.
Okay? If it's in plastic, if I don't buy it, if it's not organic, I don't buy it. If it's not pure, I don't buy it. Okay? And that's the way that you vote. And I promise you that when you start to exercise your right to vote, and I'm going to say this again, I don't know who's right, and I don't know who's wrong, but I do know what's right, and I do know what's wrong. And so I govern at the micro level. I govern my body. My body governs my mind. My mind governs my spirit. And my spirit is my relationship with God. And there is no government, there is no rule that will come in between that ever. Okay? I have my own opinions. I'm not vaxxed, and my kids aren't vaxxed. But if you choose to vax, do you think I'm going to judge you even for a second? Oh, no. I'm going to give you superfoods to support your body in case it's been weakened. Okay? I'm Native American Church. But do you think that if you're a Jehovah or if you're any other, that I'm going to ever judge you? No, because we worship the same God. Okay? And so there are no political parties. We all have the same thing in common. We want to be healthy. We want our children to be healthy. We want our parents to be healthy. We want to live free, to make the choices so we can pursue happiness. And so it's been said that we were granted inalienable rights of life and of liberty and of the pursuit of happiness. And this means we're all in the same party. Okay? If we all agree on that, so I don't care Republican or Democrat, it's never going to matter to me because we're sovereign. You and I, we're sovereign. And they're going to try to divide us so that they can control us. We're not going to let it happen on either side. Anyone.
Correct.
We have everything in common. God lives within each of us. We're all God's children. And I don't like to see my children fight. I'm sure God doesn't either. Right? So let's just increase the peace, man. They're going to try to get us to get all type of crazy in these next 90 days. Let's rise above it. Okay? Let's rise above it.
That's right. We're increasing the peace. And you know what? This is actually one of my top leaders who's been increasing the peace. This is Krishawn here. She actually got to
Hello.
show up to convention, Dave.
Hello, Don.
You said that I could have a few people on and, them just share their testimonial real quick, what their favorite product is and why. Krishawn, I know you're at work right now, but thank you for hopping on here. Really quick, Krishawn, what is your favorite product and why? And you could go ahead and say anything you want to Dave.
Yes. Hello. Hey guys. Hi. I'm so happy to be here. I'm jumping on at work, so I only got like a minute, but I just wanted to say hello and hello, Dave. It's so great to meet you and an honor to even be in your space.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for creating what you did because I'm so hyped on this experience, just being on this product and the whole cleanse and the transformation. I'm definitely seeing it in my life and I'm posting about it. Constantly. I'm sharing about it every single day because everyone needs this. Everyone can use this. And the energy that I'm feeling, the clarity in my mind and in my body, it's really overwhelming, but in the best way. Like I have so much energy to do what I'm here to do in this lifetime, which has a lot to do with this, dude. With this, right? Absolutely. We're here to help save the world, help fight against what we're fighting against. I don't even need to go into that. Yeah. But yeah, my favorite product so far, honestly, is this Power Shake. There's so many great products in this line, and I'm sure all of it, goes towards what I'm feeling, but I don't go anywhere without this. I'm just constantly.
Isn't it amazing how you're just feeling a certain way, and then you just take one big first drink?
Oh my God!
Somehow.
Right. Well, so when I was waiting for my second month's order, I ran out because I was eating it a lot or drinking it a lot, and I had like a few days to a week in between of not having it, and this was right before the convention, and I was feeling I could feel the difference of not being on this and not having it in my body. Yeah. Definitely just a smidge like lower energy. A little bit of brain fog here and there, and cravings were kind of coming back just a smidge. I could feel it. And as soon as I got this, it was at the convention actually. I took my first sip and oh my gosh, Isaac was there too. You saw me. I was like, oh my God, immediately. I need this in my life. We're back. Yeah, we're back. So Thank you so much. It's changed so much in my body and in my mental. I can even see everything around me in my life changing as well, because we're reflections, or everything around us is a reflection of who we are inside, right? And that goes physically too. So if you're physically shining and feeling good, that is going to project and reflect back to you in your scenarios, in your experiences, through people. And I'm totally seeing all that, and I'm only halfway through second month.
Wow.
So yeah, yeah. So thank you so much. Thank you so much
Well, that's
for allowing me to be here.
amazing.
Yes.
And thank you for that share, my friend. Look forward to the next time.
Yes.
Thank you,
I look forward
Krishawn.
to
Thank
meeting you in
you,
person.
Krishawn.
Yes.
Krishawn's going to be Diamond by Diamond Club.
Woo!
I will see you in Long Beach.
Okay, sounds good. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Krishawn.
Yes.
Dave, now we got my brother Rene on here. Rene is also on his way to Diamond by Diamond Club. He was actually watching, I think it was Jeffrey Smith speaking at convention. I went live while Jeffrey was speaking. He was in LA, got in his car the next morning, 4:30 a.m., and showed up to convention actually for the last couple of days.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes, sir.
Good to meet you, brother. What could you share with me today?
First off, I want to say, Dave, I think we owe recognition to your auntie for sparking the indomitable will of God to express itself through you.
What a
With
contract. Think about the soul contract she had to come here with that purpose.
100%. With that being said, I want to tell the people watching that nobody sold me on Purium. I educated myself on what the best nutrition for optimal health should be, how it should be grown, how it should be processed, and it, it, I can't say enough good things about it. I just, my first order was $1,500 without talking to a brand partner.
It's
I
true.
didn't talk to a brand partner. My second order was double. I live on Purium, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I glow,
Yeah.
That's true, bro. You do.
and I think examples say more than what I could ever, more than what could come out of my mouth. And I want to leave you guys with this.
I love it, bro.
My favorite product.
Oh, I can't beat this. I put it in everything, man. It's like that, that old lady says on that commercial, I put that stuff in everything.
100%. And I just want
Awesome.
to bless your path, Dave. I want to bless you and all the Purium community, everybody in the world.
A hold of that, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you
Many
so much for
blessings.
coming on, Rene.
Beautiful.
We got one final guest
Rene.
here, Dave. Rene, thank you so much, brother.
God
Thank you,
bless.
brother.
Thank you, Rene.
Jeez. We have Lisa here as well. Lisa's been on the products for a couple of years. Lisa, if you don't mind, just quick share what your favorite products are and why, and anything else that you want to say to Dave.
Awesome. Hey, Dave, it's so nice to meet you. I just want to say your stories are so inspiring, and I'm grateful to be here with you. One of my favorite products, honest to God, has to be the aminos, the super aminos. I've been working out for a really long time, and it wasn't until I started taking them where I really started to see the definition and muscle gain. I started to notice way more energy, and actually I started to notice my skin tightening even when I wasn't working out. So I'm just really grateful to be here with you, and thank you for being here and a part of a great community.
Thank you so much. And, remember I told the story when Manny lost 300 pounds and his skin was tighter when he
Yes.
was, and most people have to have surgery to remove all the excess skin, right?
Right.
And he was like, we used to joke around because you know how you test a watermelon, right? And it makes
Right.
that sound. Well, that was what Manny sounded like. That's how tight he was. And that was because of the aminos.
Yeah, it's really powerful. I love it.
Amazing. Thank you for your share.
Thank you so much.
Okay, many blessings.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa. All right.
Well, Dave, thank you, brother. Thank you for sharing your heart. Thank you for sharing about your products. But obviously, very, very heart-centered. Thank you so much for your time today, brother. Thank you. I can't thank you enough.
Awesome. I see brother Ian tuned in. Hey Ian, how you doing?
Ian's on here. Ian can come on if he wants to real quick.
You want to pop on and say hello, Ian?
Ian, I just sent you the invite. Let's see.
It's funny, you know, because people they look at the movie Common Ground and they go, "Wow!" So there are celebrities like Jason Momoa and you know and Daniel Glover and Woody Harrelson, and they're all like on the Purium train almost because you know they're all promoting the exact same concepts that we are. So this is growing. We're not alone. It's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Just getting started, brother. Just getting started, really. We are, and you're correct. We are not alone. Really just the beginning. And honestly, wow, convention, everything is just taken off since. And, oh, wow, I forgot to mention this. Dave, you're going on Sean Mike Kelly's podcast next month, an hour after I am. Purium's about to be told to 14 million people on his podcast. Wow. Really excited for that. Obviously, now is definitely the time for people to be hopping on this opportunity, contrary to when this opportunity is told to 14 million people on Sean's podcast, wouldn't you think?
So let me tell you right now, about 1% of people in America know about Purium. Okay? 14 million represents 5% of the people in America, or 0.5 anyway. Wait, whatever, 300 million, right?
Yeah,
So that would mean, you know, that's a pretty big percentage. So we could more than double the number of people who have heard of Purium by one single podcast. Let's make it happen.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Dave, thank you so much for your time, brother. Again, can't thank you enough. We'll have to do this again. Excited for that, and really excited for Diamond Club. If you could, what can we expect for Diamond Club in November? We can finish off with that.
Well, Diamond Club, you know, have you ever seen when, and don't take this wrong, like when they go to the park and somebody throws out a bunch of bird seed and all different types of birds come. Pigeons, right? Little songbirds, and they're all there, right?
Yeah.
When you go to Diamond Club, it's all eagles, okay? And so when I was a surfer, we used to say, when the mice are away, the cats could play, you know? So when we go there, you're going to be among your peers, other people who have strived, who have achieved, who are winning, who are earning, who are living the Purium lifestyle. And it's not some people who want to be, some people who might be, some people are halfway there, some people who have been there forever. No, this is all a peer group of people who've done the same thing, maybe for different reasons, but almost always in the same way. So Diamond, there's nothing more special, honestly, except for the intimate gatherings we have here at the Oasis in my heart than Diamond Club.
We'll have to make that happen as well. But Dave, thank you so much for sharing about that with Diamond Club. I'll see you there, brother, and hopefully have a few team members with me.
Oh, I'm positive you will. And remember, in our organization, one of our highest ranks is called Crown. And I always joke around and say that I've never seen a crown that didn't have a lot of diamonds in it. Ooh. So the pathway to Crown is to help other people succeed, you know?
That's it.
All right.
That's it. Love it. Thank you so much, Dave. Appreciate you, brother.
Blessings. Thank you, everybody.
See you guys.
Appreciate you.